Let's deal with the valley. The hills kept the same. Don't you know you got wild blood running through your veins? Don't you know you got wild blood running through your wild blood?
And welcome to Genesis Speaks.
Welcome to Genesis Speaks. My name is Ndiimanae and I'm the host of Genesis Speaks. This is our check-in episode. Well, I told y'all that we're going to have so much content in the year 2023, and this is part of the content that I'm bringing to y'all. Well, I've done mostly audio content, but now, well, you see me now. You know what I'm saying, child? I hope you're drinking your water and you are minding your business, which is so important. This is our mantra at Genesis Speaks. Well, so check-in episodes for those who are new to my channel, or the Genesis Speaks world, or the Evolve Talk rather, that what we were formerly known as. Check-in episodes is something I did in season 6 of the Evolve Talk, where in monthly, I think I had 3 episodes. Monthly, I would go in with you guys just to check in with the month and how the month was, and title the month to something. And this month of January is titled Restore. And well, let me before we guys go deep, please do check out my podcast Genesis Speaks on Spotify, any other podcast platform, just to get the context, because now you might be lost. Who is this? Then when you go there, you get to know a little bit more about me and what I do and all that. And you'll get to know that as I speak, because more second episodes are more of up and close and personal kind of conversation that I have with you guys, more of like what happened in my month, just sharing with you. Maybe some of you will relate as well, and maybe find courage to move on and find strength to actually carry on the month. And you know what, child? So this month theme is restore. The first episode of Genesis Speaks in the year 2023 is God Restores. And I said God Restores for a reason. There has been so much that has happened in the past, 3 years in my life. And I think I've documented some of the parts as I speak on my podcast. You'd hear, some of the things I've went through. Also in the check-in episodes, really are accurate to exactly what was happening in those months that were recorded. So, 2023 and 2022. Let me just give a recap. 2022. It was a year I came back to podcasting. I took a break in 2021 in August and came back year after in 2022 August. And when I came back to when I left podcasting, I knew that I'm gonna come back. I just didn't have any way forward of what exactly I will come back as. Hence, when we came back, we had a revamp of the Evolve Talk. So I was like, okay, should I just create a new platform or should I just continue? And I was like, okay, you know what, just continue in the same platform with the episodes that you already have. And yeah, the break was well needed because I needed direction. I needed to find out what exactly is it that I have to speak to you guys about. And spirituality, mental health was one of, the biggest thing that I probably the reason why I started the podcast. And I probably wanted to go back to the basics, back to where it all began, which is spirituality and mental health. When I started podcasting, it was more of me trying to get my voice back. I had no self-esteem. I needed my voice back, and I wanted, I just needed to speak and not necessarily have an audience, not necessarily have people, fans. No, it was mostly just for me to unload, and I felt that also when I'm unloading, it would be quite interesting, or rather, of benefit to someone that might, need to hear what I am going through and how probably I've overcome something, and they might have related, and I relate to your story, and your story like speaks so much to what I've been going through. And it's been a journey, really. It's Podcasting has been my therapy space where I unload, and this is it. Now, checking episodes is literally me unloading and trying to connect with you guys in a more personal and up close kind of setup. So the month to January 2023, we titled the episodes, as I said, Restore. What is restore? I don't know. Okay. For me, restore means that bringing back something that, like, for an example, this cup of water is, we take out the water and put it back. So we have restored the water that is inside there. But now, when we speak about God restoration, it's not like that. The water will come in, like, you see, the water it ends somewhere here where I'm holding, right? It ends somewhere here. But then when we talk about God restoration, it fills the cup, and the cup is overflowing, technically. Like, the cup literally overflows. And that's what the word, that's what I mean when I talk about restore. That God restores in a way which, when it comes back, it doesn't come back the same way in which you knew it. It's different. And I've spoken about this so many times, that sometimes, when God restores, it's not the same thing that we actually wanted. God gives us better. I don't want to say God can be anything that you think of, really, because we are more of a spiritual podcast. God is anything that you can think of. So when God restores, it overflows. And in the month of January 2023, for me, I feel like it's a month of restoration, in the sense that in the past 3 months of 2022, things were really quite hard. There were moments wherein I felt like I wanted to give up, but there was some voice in me that kept on saying, no, you shouldn't give up. I went back home around, I was based in the city for the year 2021, and I went back home around November or October of that year 2021. And I stayed at home. I was busy with my freelance work back home in Limpopo. I was busy with my freelance work, and I was nonchalant about, anything. But at some point, I got tired of just being home. Like, I need to like go out there and, try to make something. Because also the freelance work was also just not promising, because, with freelance, sometimes you have it all together. Sometimes you don't have it all together. And it was one of those. So I felt like, okay, now I need something permanent. I need something, that's stable as well. I just need to be away from home. As there's so many things that I can't get from when I'm home, like my affirming health care, which is, I can't get it when I'm back home. So I just needed that. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm taking a decision to go back to the city. And that was around October 2022. And, it's literally a year after me going. So I stayed home for a year. So took that decision. When I took that decision, I still had the freelance work that I was working on. And ciao. Listen. So the freelance work, the time of deciding to move back to the city, because the freelance work that I was working on was dependent on the number of participant, because I was working in a university for a course, and the number of people that enroll in the course will determine, how many of us would actually work as, the assessors or, facilitators of the course. And then I had to be cut down because the numbers were a bit low. So I was cut down from that freelance work, meaning now I have nothing, like literally no any sort of other income. So I'm just living by that last portion of my freelance work that I've got. Cool. I moved back. I found a place. Girl is like excited to be back and all that. I'm nonchalant about, what's going to happen in the next few months. And I'm just like, I want to live my best life because I've been like away from the city for so long. Let me see my friends. Let me go out. Let me meet people. It's like back when I was home, it was not that easy for me to like, well, it was, but like, you can't just go at night and come back. I love going out really. So I can't just like do it. Like I can't just go out and come back anytime I feel like coming back when I'm in other people's houses. So even though I did it, it was quite uncomfortable. So now I have my space, I have everything. So I'm like, okay, cool, Shem. I'm just gonna be like doing my thing, and I'm not even thinking about what's gonna happen in the next few months. I'm like, you know what, something will happen, and I'm not going back home. That's like my promise to myself. And now I find myself, at some point getting stressed, like the money's literally going down now. Okay, the money's going down now, and there's rent and there's food, and I'm like, yo, how am I gonna make it? Because I don't want to go back home. I don't want to, because like this, I've had moments where I was in a city and went back home, I think twice, and at this point I was like, no ways, I am going to go back home this time around. This is just a promise to myself. If it had to be me sleeping in the streets, be it, or whatever. I just told myself that I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna go home, and this is my last shot at it. Either way, I come out alive, dead, I will. So now it's the money's finishing, and girl is like stressed out and starting to worry. And my worry now is not like when I'm starting to worry, I'm not slowing down in the spending. I'm actually like intensifying the going out. The going out becomes even more. So instead of me like, okay, let me save the cash, but girl is like, no, let me actually go out, because I think that's a way of like, I'm trying to avoid all my issues. I'm trying to avoid like what I'm going through. I'm trying to avoid the issue at hand, which is the money is finishing. So what gonna happen? How go pay rent? So now I'm just going out, I'm drinking, and find myself this one night out. My mind was literally out of it. Like I was just out of it. And I remember a friend of mine saw me in the club as well. I don't know what happened. I ended up being kidnapped, and I woke up in some shack in Alexandra, lost my phone. Like I lost my phone, I lost my money, and the people asking me to actually take out the rest of remaining money that I had. Now, mind you, the girl is going broke, and now they saying I must take out the money that, like, make it make sense to me. Like, how, okay, money's finished, and now I don't have a phone. Now the money, at least there was something in the savings that I was about to pay rent for the second month, but I had to take out that money to buy a new phone, and meaning now I have nothing left in. Nothing left now. So it's like, okay, I can pay rent because like you have nothing left. Ew. So I'm not gonna really go into a lot of other details of what I get up to actually survive, but I'll give you a glimpse of some of it. Well, some I don't want to really like go, but you get me, whatever. So now I find myself in this situation. Okay, now I have my phone back and I'm kind of desperate. I need to make up rent, and now I have to make other means to actually get the rent money. And the means that I made were quite uncomfortable, were quite not really ideal for me. It was not really something that I wanted to do, but I find myself in that position and pay the rent. I think I was about to move out the second month, and you know what? God was like, no, you're not going to move out where you are. I told my landlord I'm moving out. It's like, no, okay, how much can you afford? Then I told the landlord this much is what I can afford. Then okay, cool. The landlord gave I gave the landlord that what I could afford, which was not the full rent. I paid the landlord about 2 months of with the same amount, which was little compared to what I was supposed to pay. So that was like one thing that kept me going as well. But then I kept on going with my other means of making funds, which was not really ideal for me to do. It was quite tricky, but I had to do a girl had to do what a girl had to do to survive. So in my quest of trying to make means end, I became really desperate, and someone told me that there's a job opportunity where this place, and I need to come up with my laptop, with my clothes. Wow, West. I'm like, okay, cool, shop. I'm there. I didn't even think there was so many red flags, really. And boom, I gave away my laptop. I gave away some of my clothes as well. And it was a very smooth kind of operation, really. So now, girl has no laptop. How am I going to work now? Because my work is dependent on the laptop. Anyways, so now I find myself in the situation, and I'm at the moment when that happened. I think the first thing I said when I realized that when I realized that situation happened, when the word I said, I was like, God restores. And when I said God restores, I didn't know what that means at the moment, because I lost my clothes. I just lost my laptop that could help me make money. God restores? How? How does God restore in this kind of predicament that I'm in? Now I don't have my laptop. How am I gonna work? And I remember I was about in my when I wanted to buy a phone, I have this other laptop that doesn't work properly. I was trying to sell it. Somehow I couldn't sell it. I just still have it. So that was an option again for me. I looked and I said, "This is an option that I can just fix this laptop whenever I get a chance to." And I found myself in this space where I'm just like, God restores. I could not go home for the first of seasons, and I was like, God restores. He restores. Like, why? I can't fully explain why I said that. I can't fully explain how I felt that way, but I felt that way so strongly that it just felt right at the moment, and it kept me going, and it kept me sane. Cool. I had my Christmas, like this was my first kind of Christmas. Okay, not my first, but like it was a weird kind of Christmas because I was not home and didn't have any family, but I had people, and I was shown love, and it felt still like a Christmas. Well, before I actually had the Christmas, my birthday, guys, I turned 25 November 10, 2022. So it was the worst day of my life in many sense, because I had so many visions of how I'll spend my 25th birthday, like 25th birthday. I was just like, I had this plans, everything, but on that day I was like flat broke. I couldn't afford cake. I think I didn't even have food, so it was just like, okay. I never thought. I actually think I was very depressed on my birthday. Actually, I was very, very depressed because I expected a lot. I really wanted to. I don't know. I just thought at 25 there'll be more. It wasn't like that, and I felt at the time it was also less than that. Less not time. Goals to age and all that. So I was like, okay, it's whatever. Had Christmas. It was good. New Year was also like weird as well. But at the same time, I'm like, God restores. God restores. I kept on saying, God restores. And I knew that there's something, there's more. There is more. And I think before the year ended, I'm a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant. So I've always wanted to have work in that field, and that's my passion. That's what I like doing. I'm also a data analyst. So that's like something I like, and I've been trying to get opportunities. And just to recap, let's rewind a little bit. I had an opportunity where I was working with my data analytics work as well in the year 2022. Now 2022 year end, then I got signed up for something that, there's a project that we have for you. We just finalizing things with the client. We're gonna come back to you. I waited to hear from them. Like, I kept on going back, and then it's New Year. They have not really gotten back to me because they were saying that project was gonna start December. So I was like, okay, maybe before New Year everything will be together. It didn't start December. New Year came. Now, Happy New Year. God restores. So now I contact them again. What's gonna happen? They're not saying anything, but they're saying the project is really finalized. Really, it's just they need to finalize things with the other client. Cool. I wait. So now I'm thinking, like, the year started, and I'm thinking, okay, what other means? So I find myself, getting another job. So when I start training, it's just like not for me. It was, something I don't like doing. It's just like not for me, but I don't have any other choice. The hours are crazy, and I'm like, I can't do this. And well, I can't do this. They actually fired me before whatever. So now it's almost time for rent, and I'm gonna pay the rent, girl. So I'm like, okay, well, how am I gonna pay the rent now? What's gonna happen? What I know is I'm not going anywhere. But now, how are you going to pay the rent? Because already the other thing that I was doing that I don't like doing, I was no longer doing it. So, and I don't want to do it again. So, how am I going to pay rent? So an opportunity came. I then moved to a different place. And I was able to do my work properly, everything properly. You know what? God restores. Anyway, so now I'm in this new place. Everything is good, and then the project people come through. So like, I'm worried now. The month is going to end. It's before the month end, and cost a lot. Things are a lot. Things that need money is a lot. How are we gonna survive? They come up with the project, and then they're like, okay, the project is this is the brief, and this is your budget. And I'm like, what? Okay, cool, beautiful. I needed this money. So then they tell me who the client is, and I'm like, what the? I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna disclose because I'm still working on the project, so I can't disclose who I'm working with currently. Sorry, but it's like big corporate, and I'm like, wow. And the project is working with creatives. I'm a creative myself. I work in creative spaces as well. I have creative people as well. Like, people that are close to me are also creatives as well. So I was like, ooh, this is also something I love doing, and working with creatives as well. So I'm like, okay, we see you. While we at it, other opportunity comes through with data analysts, my data analytics side. I'd applied for some hackathon stuff in Europe, Germany specifically, and they're like, girl, you in, and we have your back. And I'm like, okay, never thought that's gonna happen. So January, restoration restores. When God restores, it does not remain where it was. It exceeds your expectations. It exceeds how you thought things would be. It exceeds that. So I just want to say, guys, if you find yourself in a space where you have food, one, you have a roof to sleep over, that's surviving on its own. And that's surviving on its own. There's no more than surviving than like that. I don't know what you're going through, but what I can tell you is that it gets better. Yes, some days it's like, what the fuck is going on in my life? But it really gets better with time. It gets better. So yeah, month of January restores. I'll see you next month with different theme and tell you what's going on with my month. Really, January was not really quite, it's been chilled. It's quite chilled. There hasn't been really quite heavy events that I can say, because you know what, my chicken are always heavy, but for a change, January has actually been quite chilled and quite blessed as well. Quite blessed with opportunities as well. So it's been quite very, 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 very chilled. And besides being broke though, but it's been chilled. Thank you so much for watching. I wanted to say thank you so much for listening, but thank you so much for watching. Yeah, thank you guys. It means a lot when you guys tell me, what you think. Or I just want to shout out to Ndibo. She always, sends me, messages of like, I was listening and this is what I got. That keeps me going. That keeps me going. So do check out my podcast as well. Genesis Speaks on all podcast platforms. Thank you so much.